Train to the Plastic Underground. Approaching the station, please stand away from the platform edge. Welcome back to the Plastic Underground. Caleb here. This week is the 30-year anniversary of Space Ghost Coast to Coast. It's a show that I grew up watching all the time, and I wanted to make something fun from that, so I decided just to make Space Ghost's Gauntlet. So here's my Space Ghost Gauntlet. And this is a pretty fun, quick, easy build, and I'm going to show you how I made it. And yeah, let's get to it.
Hello, I am Space Ghost. Welcome to my show.
Alright, so starting off here with these gauntlets here. You can probably find a pattern for a gauntlet pre-made pretty easily. It's kind of basically just like basic gauntlets. So anyway, what I'm doing here is I have this strip of 5mm foam, and I'm using my ruler to mark out inches, and I'm wrapping it around my wrist to kind of get a measurement. The other thing is that I made this so that it fit tight, but you should make the bottom big enough where your hand can slide through if you're not adding a zipper or a like Velcro like connection. That way your hand can slide through, and you don't have to like stretch your hand through it. But this is a basically just a demonstration of how you can make your own type of gauntlets and stuff. So for me, this was like a one-time, like putting it on for one time, and then it'll sit up on a shelf or on the wall. So yeah, so all I did was measure my wrist and kind of up my forearm and the length. And now I'm just using some packing paper here to draw that shape out. And I'm just going to cut that all out. This, again, this is kind of like just a quick, easy way to do this. There's better ways, and the patterning is a little different if you want it to be perfect. But for this particular thing, it's not too much of a big deal. Plus, you can always make this a little longer and then trim it. You see, like this pattern, once it's wrapped around your arm, it kind of flares in the back, and I trim it off. Later on you'll see that, and yeah, that's just kind of how making a straight pattern for a curved surface goes. But it's not a big deal. You can cut it how you want it, like I do here in a minute. But this is just some 5mm white craft foam I bought in a roll, and that is what I'm going to be using. So that is why I made my ruler there out of 5mm. So it has the when you wrap it around your arm, it is the exact type of foam that you're going to be putting on later. So you get a perfect measurement, and it's not off based on the thickness. So I have like two rulers now. I have like a 10mm craft foam ruler, and I have this 5mm ruler. You don't really need a 2mm ruler because even your paper pattern isn't too much like thinner than 2mm, you're not going to see like too much of a difference. But yeah, anything thick like a 10 mil, you're gonna notice from your paper pattern that it's too small, basically, because you're not accommodating for the thickness. So yeah, that's why they come in handy, those making your own little rulers and stuff. So I cut this out, and then I just rolled up each side just to kind of help pre-form it so that it would stay round. You can see what I'm talking about now that it kind of comes together. It's got this kind of peak in the back. So just using some contact cement. This is Wellwood contact cement. That is the stuff I always use. This is my big jar that I buy, and I just kind of refill my small jar. But my small jar is it's upstairs on the painting desk. So
whoa! Hey! Don't touch me!
So now that is dry, what we're going to be doing here is just starting at the top and just slowly working your way down the gauntlet, and just making sure that these seams come together flush to the top. Just kind of using my thumbs here just to kind of push the seam in place. Basically just tacking it in place, making sure that it is in the right spot and that top seam is flush. And then you can go back through and really try to press all that seam work together, just to give it a good connection. So now I'm just using some painter's tape here, and I'm just going around here and I'm just trying to make a straight line. Again, it's not perfect, but it is better than that widow's peak that you end up with. So now I just will use my scissors here and just follow that tape line and trim that section off. And do the same thing on the bottom side too. So like I said, if you make your gauntlet a little bit longer on both sides, then you can kind of accommodate for this section here that you have to trim off. Or like I said, just find an actual gauntlet template somewhere. So using some of the scrap 5mm left over from cutting, I am cutting out 3 squares here. I believe these were both, I think they were 2" by 2" squares. And these will be the like buttons on the top. Yeah, so there are your 3 buttons. Put them in place, kind of see where I want them to be. And then I kind of mark them on the gauntlet. And then I go ahead and I round off all of the corners on the top with just a sanding disc. This kind of bevels them, makes them look more manufactured, and also like when they butt up to each other, they're not just a straight line. They have like a little bit of a bevel where they meet, and it makes it look a little better. So again, just using contact cement, putting some on the back of the buttons, and then I just put a little bit onto the gauntlet. You can see kind of where I marked it, give me a rough idea so that when I place these, I have a guide and I'm not just trying to eyeball it. You can also see I marked the center line, give me a good center line, just to kind of keep everything looking straight. And now that that is dry, you can go ahead and start tacking these in place. I kind of stick them down pretty loosely at first, get them all stuck on there and lined up, and then I will go back through and really push those in place. I kind of put my hand inside the gauntlet and hold it the inside while I like push against it, so let's have a pretty good connection. So now I just hit everything with the heat gun, seals all the foam, and gets it ready to be sealed. So I am using just some Elmer's glue here and mixing in a little bit of water just to kind of water it down a bit. And I'm just going to brush it on, and I put on about 4 layers of this glue. I hit it with a hair dryer in between coats just to help dry it a little bit quicker. And then after it's all done, you can see there's a little bit of a difference. I also had a little bit of a paint left over on that brush, so that's why it's kind of grayish. This is just a really fine sanding sponge that I'm just gonna now go over and kind of knock off any high spots, get rid of any of those like paint lines, and just kind of buff and burnish like this top surface for the paint to stick to.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Moltar, that was awesome.
Thank you.
So the reason I used the glue mixture for sealing is I wanted to keep the base white so that the red paint would lay down pretty well. If I plasti dipped this black, I would have had to put a lot of coats of red on top of it, or I would have had to put a base white primer on. I didn't want to do that. It was too many steps, and yeah, I just thought that would work out better. So now what I did is I taped off everything and left these buttons out, and just used my airbrush now to do pretty much what I just was talking about. So I'm just putting a base coat of white on these red switches. Airbrush works pretty good because you can kind of put down a thin coat and it dries a lot quicker, so you can kind of just keep painting. Also, there's a technique where you can push the button of your airbrush down without like sending out paint, and you can just kind of use the air to basically just dry the paint. So yeah, that worked out pretty good. Obviously, putting white on here, the reason we're doing that is because it makes the yellow that goes on here like so much easier to paint on top of it. Yeah, yeah, it really sticks out a lot better on top of white. You don't have to put so many coats on, and it gives you a nice uniform finish of like bright colors. Alright, now for the best part, you can kind of go through and start unmasking all this to see if your masking skills worked, if the tape peels off the paint because you rushed it. And yeah, this one actually went pretty good, so I was lucky. I always kind of rush the paint job. I'm very impatient when it comes to like waiting for stuff to dry. So yeah, I got lucky. The painter's tape that I put directly on top of the red, I did this technique where I would take a piece of the tape off and I would kind of press it on my like pants a few times and trying to pick up like lint and basically make it so it's not so sticky. You're kind of getting rid of all the tack. And that way it sticks, but it doesn't have like the full stickiness. So it works out a little better. So I think that's why this came out so good. Okay, so now I bought this pack of gloves a long time ago. These are the same gloves that Willow and I used for our Mario costumes that we did. And this is just a pack of white gloves you can buy at like Harbor Freight for like super cheap. So that's what I am using here, just to kind of finish the look of this gauntlet. You can see what I mean about the end being too tight. You gotta kind of force your hand through. But it does end up giving you a good, solid look around your wrist. So with no seams or zippers or anything, so it's kind of a give and take type of thing, you know. It's gonna wear out, obviously, pretty easy if you're putting your hand in and out a lot. But yeah, that's it. That's how I made the Space Ghost Gauntlet. I hope you liked it, and I will see you next time we make something cool.